Okay, on the injury front, Kareem has a calf injury that's significant, so he'll miss some time. That's in the weeks. And then Jeremiah Wusu Karamoa has an ankle injury that's also significant, so he'll miss some time. That's also in the weeks. And then Baker with the shoulder, we'll just gather more information over the next couple of days on him, as well as Odell with the shoulder. Just going to gather some information, see how those guys do over the next 48 hours, call it. And then on the rest of the crew, I know the questions are coming on Jack and Jed and those guys and Jarvis, and we'll see. I don't have a firm answer on a lot of those guys. So we just got to get through this couple days and see where everybody is. Obviously still frustrated, disappointed with our performance yesterday. And then ultimately we're moving on and we're full speed ahead on the Denver Broncos. And this thing comes at you quick. And we're going to make sure that we turn the page with the players as they come in here this afternoon and we get started on the Denver Broncos team and Coach Fangio, who does a great job with their defense. I think they got explosive players on their offense, so it's going to be quite the challenge on Thursday night. And with that, I'll take any questions.
Thanks, Coach. The first question will be from Tom Withers.
Thanks, Rob. Thank you, Kevin. Kevin, as far as Kareem's concerned, was that an IR situation? Is that a 3-game situation?
I think we'll work through all that on the roster, but it's likely, in that it's going to be more than 3 games.
Got you. And then as far as Baker's concerned, he said that the shoulder did pop out twice yesterday. On the short week, Kevin, is this a good situation where it might be wiser to have him sit, play Keese, and then kind of go from there, giving Baker a little bit of extra time?
Yeah, I think we'll make sure, Tom, to work through all that in the next couple of days, and obviously take what the medical staff says, what Baker in this case says, and we do that for all of our players. That's making sure we make prudent decisions with all of these guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Nate Ulrich is next.
Kevin, do you have any kind of sense of where you're at with the planning as far as Case Keenum for Thursday?
What do you mean, Nate?
Well, I mean, will you head into, tomorrow you get back on the practice field for your one practice.
Mm-hmm.
Case Keenum take reps with the starters. Will you be preparing him as if he's going to go? Is Baker going to miss any practice time? I know you're, said we'll see how it goes. I'm just trying to kind of find out what that exactly means.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I can't kind of give you any more information just because it's so early in the day, early in the week. I think I'll have a better sense tomorrow with a lot of these guys. So I don't know is the truth. I got to see how Baker and all these guys respond over the next 24 hours.
And with Kareem, NFL Network reported that 4 to 6 weeks is the estimate. Is that the estimate that you're hearing from your medical staff?
It's in that ballpark, but I didn't get that exact number.
Thank you, Nate. Scott Petrick, you're up.
Hey, Kevin, with so many injuries and uncertainty, how did you go about devising a game plan when the game's 3 days away?
Well, we're still devising that game plan, and I think that's what we have to do. We have to be fluid in what we do. The truth is we may not know who's available to us for another 24, 48 hours, if you will. So that's what we have to do, and that's no different than everybody in the NFL right now. You have guys that may make it to the game, may not, and that's life in the big city.
Thanks.
Thanks, Scott. Mary Kay Cabot, we'll go to you.
Yeah, Kevin, when it comes to Baker Mayfield, will it strictly be for you if the medical doctors say that his left shoulder is good to go, based on what you've seen in the past few games, he's starting the game? Or might you look at it and say, he hasn't looked like himself a little bit to me, and maybe independent of what they say, I might have to figure out if playing Case over him is the right decision?
Yeah, Mary Kay, I think with any injury, I'm not the expert. I'm not the medical expert. So I will listen to the medical team here. And we listen to the player. With every single player here, it's you treat them and you have a dialogue with them. You talk to the doctors, and we'll make, again, make good decisions and smart decisions with all of these guys.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Mary Kay. Dale Ryder, you have our next question.
Yeah, sorry to follow up with another Baker question here, but He went right back in again, like he did against the Texans. How much of that was Baker saying, I'm good to go? And how much of that was the medical? And off of that, might you have to protect Baker from himself, because he's adamant he's not missing any time, he's going to play, but injuries are injuries and he might put himself in harm's way there?
Yeah, Darryl, what I would tell you is on all those type of conversations, I'm going to defer to the medical staff on when a guy is ready and or not ready. And again, when we talk to the players, in the situation yesterday, he was deemed ready to go back in. And obviously, as you saw, Baker wanted to go back in. But we will always do what's right by our guys.
Appreciate it, Daryl. Cam Justice, you're up.
Hey, Kevin, I have a question about the defense. The team has cited communication as the biggest issue to address when it comes to the defense and getting them back on track. I'm just curious on how you go about fixing that. How do you start that? Is there a specific area like detailed walkthroughs or signal calling changes that you begin at? How does that process start?
Yeah, Cam, I think each week we try to make sure that the communication is on point, really through them in the meeting rooms. Those walkthroughs that you mentioned, we've added walkthroughs going back a few weeks. We've added walkthroughs on Thursday to over communicate, if you will. And then at practice, we place a huge premium on it. So it's ultimately, it has to be better across the board. And that's really for the team when it comes to communication, because oftentimes some of those mistakes you see are a product of miscommunication. So we'll keep working very hard at that.
Thank you.
Thanks, Cam. Matt Fontana, go ahead.
Yeah, Kevin, I know you've said in the past you were going to be aggressive on fourth down. You said that before the season even started, and we asked you about it yesterday, but does it ever enter your mind to maybe change the thought process on going forward, or is it strictly we are going to go forward and we have to execute better?
Yeah, I mean, I really believe we have to call better plays and we have to execute better. We need to, in those moments when we're going for it, I got to make sure that I give the guys something they can execute, something that we can get the ball out of our hands on time, those type of things. And that's where I need to be better. Each game is different. I've said it before, we're not being aggressive just for the sake of being aggressive, trying to be smart in what we're doing. But,
Kevin,
I'm sorry, but to follow up, we have to be better. That's pretty obvious.
And then just with all the injuries and just 2 tough games, do you need to say anything to the team to it'd be easy for the morale to go down? Everybody's getting hurt. We're not playing well. Do you feel the need to say anything to the team?
Well, I will address the team later today. And listen, it's the NFL. Injuries are part of the game. And we have a game on Thursday. And we got to get ready. And we're going to be full speed on to the Denver Broncos.
Thanks, Matt. Our next question is going to go to Jeff Shadell. Jeff?
Hey, thank you. Do you think we talk about communication all the time? Is that really the only problem with the secondary, or does it go a little deeper than that?
Yeah, I wouldn't pin, all of our issues as a team in any area on just communication. Obviously, it's an important part when you're playing these games that everybody's on the same page, but there's a bunch of different areas that we have to clean up. And sometimes it's alignment, sometimes it's assignment, sometimes it's technique, sometimes it's giving these guys things that they can execute. So it's all of those things. I wouldn't just say it's a communication thing.
Thank you, Jeff. Tom Withers, back to you.
Thanks, Kevin. Sorry, I know you got a busy week. But how did Baker look to you, though, otherwise yesterday? I know the injury has obviously been an issue, but was he making the reads that you wanted? Was he as crisp as you needed him to be?
I don't think any of us were as crisp as we needed to be, Tom. We turned the ball over 3 times. They turned it over. We had 0 takeaways. We had been doing a decent job of taking care of the ball, up until yesterday. We just were a little too careless at times. And again, we didn't take it away. So you finish -3. It's just not how you're going to get a win in this league.
And I'm sorry if you were asked this yesterday. It looked like you could have had a big hitter on that reverse to Odell. Did the handoff need to happen there?
Yeah, Tom, I really don't want to get into the specifics on those type of things. Respectfully, I just think it's
I got you.
there's a bunch of different things and a bunch of different things I wish I did differently, and we can clean those things up.
Thank you, Tom. We'll go to Dan Lobby.
Hey, Kevin, about Baker, and I guess just the quarterback position in general. And I know you'll never, like you said, you're going to do what's best for the player. But is the quarterback position a little different when it comes to playing hurt? I guess, is there a higher expectation that that guy needs to be out there if it's not going to put him in more harm's way?
I don't think so, Dan. I could think of some other guys that are pushing through injuries on our team as well. And as you know, you feel 100% the first day of training camp, and then that's the last time you feel like that. So again, speaking about all of our players, we have a bunch of guys pushing through, nicks, bruises, whatever you will. But we're going to always do what's best for the player.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dan. Nate Ork is next.
Hey, Kevin, I'm sorry if I missed early, but did you mention Nick Chubb? Do you have any feel for if he can go Thursday?
Yeah, I'm not going to rule him out yet. Obviously, a short week makes it harder, but he's progressing.
Okay, and then on JOK, is it a high ankle, and is he going to be going on our IR like Kareem?
It's a high ankle, and I think we're going to work through all the roster designations today.
Thanks, Nate. Fred Greetham, go ahead.
Hey, Coach, I know Tom asked about this, but last year you were really good at the turnover ratio, and this year, you were near the top. Right now, you're more towards the bottom. What is the major difference? You got some good players on defense, just not taking it away.
Yeah, I want to say we're middle of the pack, and that's not where we want to be when it comes to turnover margin. We put a huge emphasis on it. We drill it every day. Again, we had too many giveaways yesterday, and that's uncharacteristic of how we've been playing. And then we do have to do a better job, and those things come via tip balls. They come via great plays on the ball, knocking, rip attempts, getting the ball out. It was on the ground a few times. We didn't get it. So it's going to continue to be a huge emphasis of ours. And sometimes they come in bunches, but we got to make sure that we take that thing away.
Thanks.
Fred, Doug Maurice, you have our next question.
Hey, Kevin, I want to ask about a specific play from yesterday as part of a bigger picture. On the play where Baker got hit by Watt and fumbled and hurt the shoulder, he looked like he had Odell in front of him. He sort of pumped it and then brought it down and tried to escape. We just had the TV feed. I don't know if he had a guy in his passing lane or what, but would you preferably like to see Baker just take that short pass to Odell there? And how has Baker done in taking the throws that might be there in front of him versus maybe trying to hold on to the ball and make a big play throughout the season?
Yeah, Doug, I'd tell you on that specific play, quite honestly, it wasn't a very good play call. Not many people open on that play. They covered it pretty well. Baker was getting close to having a scramble there. So it's not like there was anybody wide open. But to your point, Doug, I'd tell you there was a play late. I don't know if it was earlier or later than that, where he took Kareem on a similar type concept where Kareem was open and he dotted it on him right now. So that's always an emphasis of our quarterbacks, knowing when to be aggressive, when to take those things that are right in front of you.
Thanks.
Appreciate it, Doug. Daryl Ryder, back to you.
Hate to go back to the fourth down thing here, Kevin, but yesterday when you went for it, you were only down 7 and it was still the first quarter. And if you kick the field goal, you're down 4. It's 7-3 at that point. You're down your two tackles. The offense isn't exactly humming on all cylinders. How much does feel or like gut feeling, coaches and players, they get those gut feelings, and how much does that weigh in to your decision-making process on fourth down?
Yeah, I'd tell you, Daryl, every game's different. Every matchup is different. And we look at that when planning out those type of decisions. You're right. It was early in the game. Just that it was a call that we liked. Didn't come through. And again, that's where I needed to make sure I'm giving these guys plays that they can execute and convert, because we have to be better. That's no secret.
Thanks, Daryl. Mary Kay Cabot, you have our next question.
Yeah, Kevin, you covered the third turnover by Baker, but you had mentioned after the game yesterday that you wanted to go look at all of them. So I just kind of wanted to, sort of address the 3 turnovers by Baker, 2 in his own area there. And, what did you think of, the first one and then the throw and just the notion in general of Baker having to protect that football? And was he pressing or what was going on?
Yeah, again, I would tell you, Mary Kay, he's done a very nice job taking care of the ball prior to yesterday. And we had a couple too many times where the ball was on the ground or we threw an interception. I'm not naive enough to think that it's not going to happen at all. But we want to make great decisions. We want to throw accurate balls. We want guys to, run the right route at the proper depth, all those type of things. So really unfortunate on those plays. The one play he's fighting, trying to make a play late in the down and they got him. So, again, unfortunate. We can teach off of them, but we got to take care of the ball.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mary Kay. We're going to take 3 more. Scott Petrick, Marla Ridenour, Nate Ulrich. Scott.
Hey, Kevin, I know after the game you said Arizona's big personnel had something to do with you going empty early, but how much did not having Nick and Kareem being beat up even before the game affect kind of your early decisions?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was part of it. We wanted to make sure we spread the ball around, and we felt like we had opportunities there in some of those concepts versus their bigger personnel. But I credit the Cardinals; they did a nice job.
Well, then moving forward, you won't have Kareem Thursday. We don't know about Nick yet. How much confidence do you have in the run game, just as itself with 2 backup guys and maybe even backup tackles still?
Yeah, I have confidence in our guys, Scott. I think you've seen it over the course of time. Guys step up. That's the nature of the beast. The NFL, you're going to have guys in and out of your lineup every single week, short weeks. It's a challenge, and it's a challenge for both teams. So who's ever in there, I can promise you I have a ton of confidence in them.
Thanks.
Thank you, Scott. To Marla Ridenour.
Yeah, Coach. One more thing about the defense. Just considering all the issues, have you considered simplifying things? Just to, I don't know, would that help?
Yeah, I think those are the type of things that we're always discussing, Marla. Really on offense, defense, and special teams. We need to be better. We need to be more consistent. Some of our mistakes, it really isn't a matter of simple or hard. We just got to make sure we do our job. What ultimately I tell you, Marla, is we got to look at every angle and what we can do better as coaches, what we can do better as players.
Does the coaching staff feel a little bit out of sync too?
I think anytime you lose a game like that, we all feel out of sync. We didn't do a good enough job.
Thanks, Marla. Final question for Coach Nate Ulrich.
Hey, Kevin, we have John Johnson III on our schedule today, and I was just wondering, he said to us before, and I'm sure it'll be a topic, that, this is a new role for him, the way he's being used. I'm just wondering if you're seeing him struggling with the new role, if you think that, maybe it would be better to use him in a different way. Is there any of that discussion going on with you and Joe Woods and your staff? Just because it seems like a guy who was a high-level player, you knew what he was good at, and he's doing something different this year for you guys.
Yeah, I would tell you, John's a guy that we're all counting on. He's done a great job as a leadership in the leadership role that he's playing. I think he's doing a nice job in the role he's playing on the field. There's some opportunities where he's coming down with the ball. He's getting close to it. And I think he's doing a nice job. Ultimately, all of our guys, Nate, we're constantly looking at where we can use them so that they're used the best of their ability. So that's I wouldn't say that that's any different than any player.